welcome back to Chaby Tech. In this video I'll be showing you how to create a list of users, and we'll be doing also appending to this list by using a form with the inputs, the first name, last name, and the gender. And I'll show you also how to sort an array, a very simple way to do it, and probably doing the ngx avatar, which is contain the image of the user. So let's jump into it. So in this I have a basic HTML which contain the container, because I didn't want to waste too much time on this video to show you how to create all this. So I have a class container left, center for the flexbox, and 50%, and another div for the results, another 50% that I did in my previous video. So you can see on the left side we have the white screen for the inputs, and on the right side we have the simple cards, and this is our results, right? So let's go back to our code. The first thing that you're gonna need, I open already a couple of tabs, alright? So we're gonna be using the form field. So the first form field that we'll be using will be the outline, and we'll be just take this, copy it, and paste it right here twice, and we'll go back. We'll be using also the mat select. Where is it? Okay, buddy, it's right here, probably. Yeah, right here. Yep, the first one. So I'm just gonna paste this right like this. Just remove the form control and the color. I don't care about this for now. Go back to this. Now we have two types of input and the mat select. Also we'll be adding a button, and the button will be adding, it's the mat raised button, the primary. And I'm just gonna paste it right here. I'm just gonna show you. So now we have a button. So now what we're gonna do, it's the input will do a gap between them, and we'll keep them together as a row, and another row for the primary and in the middle. So to do this is very simple. You just do a div, and this div just put all the mat form fields, because we need the mat form fields all together and alone. So the fx layout will be row, and also for the button you don't need to do anything, just create another div and put it inside the div. Alright, and in your main div that contains the two divs, alright, you will have to put colon fx align. Where is it? Layout align. All right, what's wrong with this? Oh, sorry guys. Fx layout, and will be a colon. If we go back, now you can see that we have the primary down below in the middle, and we have two inputs and this right here. So now what we're gonna do also, we need to fx gap, layout gap, and we need around 2% of gap between the fields. Not here, actually, I need to put it right here, because we have the mat form fields in this div. So now we have 2% of gap in each, and also the color, the select, I need to have it outline like the rest of them. So instead of appearance fill, you will be just doing appearance outline. So now we have outline, and let's change the labels. So here, first name, and I don't need the mat hint, I don't care about this. So the mat icon, instead of this, we will be using person. Just copy to the second one also, and the second one will be last name. Let's go back. So first name, last name, perfect. And let's remove the hint, and instead of color it will be gender, and we'll have two mat options, not more. We'll have male, female, male, female, right, so perfect. So now we have, and the primary, instead of primary we'll do add user or create user, much better. So create user, perfect. So now we have a simple card that is empty for now, but in this card we'll have the first name, last name, the gender, and the menu. And for the menu we'll be using, where is it, right here, we'll be using a menu. All right, and in this menu it looks like this. You click on it and you'll have a couple of options. So the options that we'll have for this video, only edit, because it will take too much time to create an edit and stuff. So let's do it like this. So just copy this button, and before we paste it we need to create a mat card content, because the mat card content will contain all the content of the mat card. All right, so we'll have first div, second div, and a third div right here, and the fourth div, and we'll add the button right here. So you will see that the mat menu trigger for menu doesn't exist, because you need to take the mat menu and paste it whatever you want. You can paste it at the end also. And we'll be removing the dial up, and we'll be removing the other one. So we're just gonna keep delete, is it delete or remove the mat icon? Let's see. So here we'll have delete, and this one is disabled. We'll enable it. And you have to make sure to import the mat menu, right? Because it's already, I already have it. Okay, the delete, no, it's not this one. So delete is remove probably. Nah, delete. Yeah, okay. So it's lowercase delete. So let's put it like this. Looks much better. Looks like shit, but it's okay. All right, so we have, let's keep it like before. We're not gonna do some CSS now, waste some time. So all right, so we have delete. You can also have whatever you want. You can have edit, view changes, whatever, history, blah 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 blah. So but for this video we'll have the delete. So now we have, let me check something first right here. So mat icon, let me go, so center, just want to see something here. So all right, perfect. So this is what I want. So fx layout align, I want space between. All right, so let's figure out right now. So okay, so now that we have the form fields, right? So we have first name, last name, and gender. Now we need to create the interface, the basic interface. So export interface user info. So first name, it's a string, right? And we have last name, also a string. And we have the gender, which is also a string. And now we need to create a user, add user, and we'll pass the user info, and it will be an empty object for now. So first name blah blah blah, last name blah blah blah, empty, and gender also empty. So now we need to bind this, all right, into our HTML. And the best way to do it, you can do it many ways. You can do value for the input. You can do ng model, which is what I'm gonna use now. And the ng model, because it's two-way binding, it will change automatically for this. So add user for this one. and the second one last name, and for the mat select also is gender. So now we have like this. Now we need to add to the button a click, right? So the click will be create user, and let's go back to our TS file, just create user, and now we're just gonna console log this dot add user so we can see the change automatically. So now if I put anything right here, create, go to your console, and you see object and first name, gender, and last name. Also, another trick for the console, you can put for example users or create user. All right, and once you do this, you see create user and it will show you the object. So this is very important. Console log is very important. You can use also console group, console.group. You can there's so many. When you have couple of object or couple of arrays and you want a console to see all the results, it's better to group them and you will see the result properly. And you can also use console.table if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so you will see it in the table. So let's do it like this, and let's see the changes. You go back, you see we have a table, first name, last name, and gender. So this is good for a small object, but once it get a lot bigger, it's more difficult to see it. So, but this is nice, right? So now that we have this, I think it's best that we create a form, but I need to import a couple of things. I already did import, but let's do it. All right, so in the constructor, let's create a constant form equal first name, and the first name will be empty, but we need the validators required. All right, because it's a simple require, we can use also, we can add patterns, whatever we want. So last name, I'm just gonna do the same thing right here. Validators dot required, and we'll also have the gender, and also validators dot required. So now that we have our constant form, now let's import in our constructor FB for form builder. And now, so also we need to create a user form. All right, so in this user form, it's a form group, and now this user form equal fb.group.form inside the form, right? So now we have the form. So I'll show you also how to be able to access forms. It can get very complicated when you have nested and like nodes. You need to create a very complicated form, like you will have a form array inside the form group, and so on and so on and so on. So let's go to our HTML. In this div, I'll be assigning the form group to I call it user form, and now all the inputs, it's a form control name, and first name, first name, also last name, and we have the gender. And why we're using the form modules, it is very important because the user can also create an empty list, create, and you might have a lot of errors. There's many ways to do it, you know. I'm just gonna show you the very basics. So, but the good thing about using forms is you can manipulate everything. The data, you can manipulate how the interaction with the user. So it is important, right? So now you can see that because it's required, okay? So you see that if there's no input, you see it in red, and now you don't. But now what we're gonna do is the create user will be empty, will be disabled, I'm sorry. It will be disabled if the user didn't enter all the inputs required. So to do so, let's go to our button and we're gonna use disabled, and we'll create the function is disabled, and let's go back to our TS is disabled. So what we'll do, because of our forms, it's so much easier, but sometimes you might have, when it become very complicated, you have to loop over each form control, blah blah blah. So but for now, so return this event, what we call it, user form dot invalid, and that's it. So what will happen now, you see the create user is disabled, and even if you try to enable it right here, alright, so even if you try to enable it, like, because in the HTML you can also add disabled, right? You can do it like this. If you use PHP, you can also do like a PHP to disabled echo disabled blah blah blah, but here it's so much nicer, so much cleaner. So now if I put sharp whatever I want, and now boom, now it's enabled. If I remove, it's disabled. So this restrict the user by doing, like, you need to make sure that the user follow the flow, right? So now we did this. Now let's create an array that will be using to append the users. So let's call this array all users, and we'll pass the interface of user info, but an array of it, right? And we'll initialize this array. So now our array is empty. Now we need to bind it right here in the mat card. So ng4, so this will loop through let user of what we call it, I always forget, all users. All right, so what will happen now, you won't see anything, right? Because now it's looping through it and it's empty, so it won't show you anything. And what we want, it's the first name, right? So user dot first name, and we have user, wow, what happened? And we have user dot last name, and also we have a gender, right? For now. So if I do John Doe, that's a male, I create John Doe. I'm supposed to see the changes, but what happened? Because we didn't do on the create anything. So you go back to create user. So not now, what we'll do is, so this all users dot push, right? And what we'll push is the first name, and where we're gonna get this first name from the add user, right? And the last name from this add user dot last name, and here first name, and gender, this dot add user dot gender. So now what will happen is every time you create a user, it will append to this array. So now let's go back. So John Doe is a male create, so now we have John Doe, and it's ugly as fuck. So now let's go back to our card, and in this card let's create a margin of 1 rem. All right, and what I did is I removed the mat card content. All right, so if we go back, we create a user, another user, now we have a gap of 1 rem, and we have like the first name, last name, and mail, and we have the menu. So right here, and the menu. Now what I'm gonna do is the menu, I'll put it to the end. So to do so, you just need to do fx align layout end, and let's go back, test this, and now it's at the end. And what I'm also do is I want them to be centered properly, and I want them to be centered. So fx layout align center, center, and I'm just gonna copy this for the rest of the divs. All right, so let's test this. Perfect. So now everything is centered. Now we have first name, last name, and gender, and the menu. What we can also add, it's the ngx avatar, and to be able to import this, okay, you need to do npm install. So I'm just gonna copy this code, go back to my terminal, and save this. It will take a couple of seconds to kick in. All right, and to use it, it's very simple, and I'll be using which one? I'll be using this one. All right, so I'm just gonna go back. All right, so I need a newer version. I don't want to waste time on this. So what I'll be doing is I will add another div, and I'll remove Skype, Google. I'm just gonna keep the src, but the src I don't have any avatar, so if it doesn't find it, it will take the name src. So the size I want 50, and round is true. Let me see if it got it. So I will import avatar modules. Let me just check it. So also right here, so 30 30, so here I will have 20, so let's say 20 and 20, so 20 40 60 80 100. So let's just check. Okay, so I have an error. Give me a second. So let's remove this, go back, test this. So it's telling me that there's no provider. Let me relaunch, npm install. So npm start. Name. Let's see the ngx. Where is it? Ngx value. Yeah, so value. So let's put the value, and the value will be user dot first name plus user dot last name. So if there's no image, it will show you the first and the last name of that user. So now we have a compiling error. Why? I think because I need to put it right else. First name. Yeah. All right. So let's try it again. All right. Let's go back. Hopefully it will work. So I have another avatar service, no provider to HTTP. Why it's doing this? Universal avatar. Let's go back to ngx. So I think we need to import this. Yes, let me check my modules. Where is it? HTTP client module. Let's try it again. So right here. All right, so perfect. So this is, let's remove this. I think let's just put first name for now. All right, so last name, male, create. All right, so I don't know why this is huge. Shouldn't be so. First name, last name. Usually you should take the first and last name. Let me go back and see. So value, it's a string, show a value as src. I don't need this. bg color, okay, border, style, click on avatar. Okay, so name, let me check some. I think it's name. Yeah, let me see. Let's go back and try this. Okay, so that's it. It's name, it's not value. So name and user dot last name. So if there's no image, if your src is empty, it will show the first and the last, which is not working. First and last. Why? Let me try something here. So let's remove this and put a regular string. So John Doe. I think it's because of the space. Let me try this and we'll figure out. Yes. All right. So now I'm just gonna create a space in between them. So the NGX avatar will know that there's a space. So perfect. So now we have the first name and last name. So we have the avatar, the first, last name, and gender, and we have the delete. So now let's create our delete method. In the mat menu, in the spam, you just create a click, delete user, go back to our code, delete user, blah blah blah. So what we'll do is we will delete the user. But how you will be deleting a user if you don't know which user it is, right? So the mat menu, it's because it's outside. What I'm gonna do, there's so many ways to do it, but I'll keep it just like this for now. So I'll keep it in my mat card right here. So I'm able to get the user itself, right? So you can do it by doing let I of index, and you will be let I equal index. Yes. Okay, so you get the index of the user and you can delete it, or you can take the object of this user and you can find it and delete it. But the best way to do it, just target the I, go back to this. So I is a number, and to do so it's this all users dot splice, and we'll splice the index and the count will be 1, right? So if I go back and let's put John Doe. All right, so I want to erase now John Doe, create, I erase it, but now let's say I erase this one. So perfect. Also you need a type of validation like this all users dot length is more than 0, then I want to splice, else it's undefined. For some reason this is better. So now if I do this, okay, create user. Also, if you want, we can also check if the user already exists with the first name, last name. So if they are the same, we want to restrict the user from adding this user, right? So there's many ways to do this. We can also, before the create, we can do like an if case, all right, or let result, for example, this all users dot la 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 dot blah 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 we can do it dot include. No, I prefer to do it another way. So if this user dot, let's say, filter user dot first name dot include this add user dot first name, or user dot last name dot include this add user dot last name. So here, okay, so now we have, let's console log the result just to see. We'll test this right now, and I'm just gonna put here, so John Doe male created. Let's go to our console, so it's empty. If I do it again, so now it find it, right? So it find that this one exists. So what we can do, if in if case, I don't like to use a lot this way, the if case. What we can do, if the result dot length is more than 0, I want to initialize this, initialize add user, else I don't want to do anything, and I'm just gonna take this, keep it like this, and we're just gonna create a function called add user, initiate add user, and we'll call it. So what will happen here, so if the result is more than 0, actually it's the opposite, sorry, undefined, or we can do it like this, we don't care, is equal to 0. That means I want to add the user, else I don't want to add the user. So John Doe, gender male, create. So now if you create many times, it won't create it. If you do like this, also it won't create it, because we're targeting the first name and last name. All right, so if I just do this, it will create it. If I do this, there's many ways by doing this, but this is a very easy way to do it, and the simple way. So you cannot create the same user twice. So as for the delete, now we have this delete. Now it's not working. Why did we do it? If all user dot length is more than 0, this all user dot splice. So let's go back to our developer tools and see why it's not working. Delete user, so let's console log I, and blom create user. So what I'm saying is, if the length of the all users is more than 0, then I want this all user dot splice. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this. So we go back, click, Actually, did we bind this together? Delete user. What? Ah, sorry guys. It's because I did it. I bind this on this, not on the icon. So usually you don't do it this way. You just do it on the button itself. So now we won't have a problem. So let's say like this. So boom, right? I can't use the same user twice. Let's go back and sort the all users by ascending and descending. So I'll be using the button, the same button as the mat raised button. So above the mat card, we'll create a div and we'll put the button in it. And I'll actually also add the mat icon, and it will be sort, and the name will be sorting. Wow. All right, so let's go back, see the changes. So now we have the button, basic button sorting, and we go back to the RTS file, export enum direction, and we'll have ascending and we'll have descending. Now we need to create a variable and there will be a behavior subject, so it will be called sorting behavior subject, and the type will be direction, and it will be equal to new behavior subject and direction dot ascending. Now let's go back to our button and let's create a click on it. The click will be sort, and let's go back, create that function, sort, and what we'll do first is create an if case. If this sorting dot value is equal to direction dot ascending, right? So I want this sorting dot next. So I'm assigning to the behavior subject that now I want it to be the direction of descending because it was already ascending. So whenever the user clicks, it will change automatically. And if not, I want the sorting to be next direction ascending, right? So this is done. Now what we need, we can create an if case, or I can create a switch. So I'll be creating a switch, and the switch will be the sorting.value, and the first case will be direction.ascending. And what will happen here, I will do this all users, and now we'll be sorting the users by the function of sort, and we'll sort by A, B, and what we'll do is a dot first name dot local compare, because it's a string, b dot first name. So we're just gonna sort by first name for now. And now let's put a break right here. And now let's do the case of direction of descending, and this all users equal this all users dot sort. Actually, let's copy this. We're just gonna, so now instead of A compared to B, now it's B compared to A. So this is done. What we have left, let's put a break right here. So now we have switch. All right, so let's try it. So let's put Alex as a name and Alex last name, and let's put Barbara. Now let's let's start with the C so we can see the changes. So Cameron, whatever. Okay. And let's put Danny. Let's put Bentley. All right, so now we have Alex, A, C, D, B. So now we sort, we have D, C, B, A. We sort again, A, B, C, D. And also what we can do, we can bind it sorting to the sort dot value. So it will show you the value from the beginning, but now it's showing us because 0 because our enum is direction is ascending equal to 0. You can also do this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, let's just keep it for now like this. We can also create an if case, but forget this. So now we have the sorting, we have C, we have A, we have D, and we can sort them right away. And if I delete the D, the C, now we can sort. So this is very effective, right? So this is the basics, very, very basics. There's so much you can do, but for this video's sake, this is the basics. And if you guys need any specific video, please comment down below in this video, and I'll try to create a new video with your request. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you.